Now we've got Peter Whittle of the new Culture Forum. I think I got that right, yes. Peter. And Matthew Stadler, he's a political commentator on the left of politics, but I think he's a bit of a secret Tory. He's been telling me earlier, he's still got a membership card of the Labour Party, but we're going to swap that, aren't we?
Look, no way. If my wife can't get me to be a Tory, there's no way you are going.
We'll see about that. Look, this show is recorded, obviously, so things might change from when this actually goes out on Friday evening. But this week we've seen some, I think, disturbing scenes in Parliament where, you know, these are akin for me to see something in South America, in the Parliament in South America, where votes have been nodded through and rules have sort of been changed, and it's created outrage on my side of the House and with the SNPs. I think democracy was denied on Wednesday. This was supposed to be the SNP's day. It is their opposition day debate. It was their chance to have their say, have a puppet government, and ultimately have their vote to show their constituents that they're on the side of the people in Gaza. That's up to them. But, Matthew,
well, I think what the Speaker was trying to do, and he may have failed in this, was to actually encourage democracy, to give everyone a chance to have their say. But it is obviously blown up spectacularly in his face. The scenes were not good. I mean, you know, you made the comment off camera, it was good TV. And in one sense, it was good TV, but it was good TV for the wrong reasons.
It was shocking. Good TV. It was bad for democracy.
Not great for democracy, the outcome of it. I wonder whether you think, actually, though, that the Tories should have joined the SNP in sort of effectively storming out. Was that the grown-up? Was that the grown? Yeah, but was that the grown-up thing to do?
Well, it was a protest. It was a protest. We walked out of the chamber in protest, not necessarily in support of the SNPs, but in protest. We thought that democracy was failing at that moment in time in Parliament. So we had no choice, I don't think, but to walk out. But I'll come to you, Peter, because this Opposition Day debate, yes, it is a debate. It's not law changing. It's not going to change anything, really. But it's a chance for the opposition to have their say, have a vote, and let the constituents know what they've done. But for the first time in a long time, the Speaker actually accepted an amendment from the Labour Party, which is unprecedented. It doesn't happen, which we know from our sources that there was probably up to between 80 and 100 Labour MPs ready to rebel and support the SNP motion, which would have divided the Labour Party and created a big headache for Sir Keir Starmer.
Yes.
So do you think maybe pressure was put on the Speaker from Sir Keir?
It seemed so. As you say, we're recording it, you know, this is the moment, so more will emerge. I think what I take exception to really is the idea that this was good TV. It might be good TV for us. Yeah. For the majority of people looking in,
it's terrible.
They look at it and they think, you know, well, actually, it confirms all there was feelings about Parliament. Now, what I would love to see, Lee, would be that level of passion, if you like, and activity over issues, for example, such as immigration, such as the gradual disintegration of our culture, such as the cost of living. Instead, what we got was this kind of politicking, plus, at the same time, extraordinary virtue signalling and people wanting to be seen to vote in a certain way. And here we come to the nub of the problem for me. All of this stuff is important. There's no question about it, what happened with the Speaker. But what worries me more than anything, and it was said, in fact, that this was done also for the safety of it.
I'm not buying that.
What worries me is the growth of Islamist fundamentalism and sectarianism in our politics. This was possibly one of the worst examples of it yet. You know, what it really means is that fear of possible threat, and you might say, actually, the threats are, you know, authentic and indeed that they're real, but that has driven the way Parliament operates.
Is this a sign of things to come, Matthew? If Labour get into power, are they going to pander to the bay mob in the gates of Parliament and use the safety card to push things through?
Well, we disagree about a lot, don't we? We are on very different sides of the political spectrum, despite your gag at the start. But on this, I think we probably are united. We cannot have our democratic body, Parliament, bowing in any way to the mob.
Like the Labour Party's doing it, Matthew, already. So what are they going to be like when they get in power?
Sure, well, no better.
I just think that Parliament has to be immune to the sorts of threatening pressures that no doubt exist, whether that is a mob of people or demonstrators outside the gates of Parliament, or whether that is the threat that people will demonstrate outside MPs' properties, both of which should have no impact on how the Speaker does parliamentary business, and it shouldn't have an impact on how Labour MPs, Conservative MPs of any hue...
But let me come to Peter. Are they doing this for votes?
I think that basically, in the case of many Labour MPs, they will be looking at their large Muslim constituencies, certainly. But also, it's just the evidence of what's happened over the past, 2 months now? I mean, the level of intimidation, the fact that the police as well, for example, just simply seem to allow it to happen. Yeah. And last night, in fact, outside, there were these demonstrations. I don't think last night's demonstrations probably had the effect. I think what it is a period of over 2 or 3 months, right? The police allowed, for example, there was a big kind of graphic that was put on Big Ben last night, sort of like, free Palestine or whatever it was. The problem here is that there is a growing sectarianism, as I said, that's showing itself in all sorts of different ways. And I think that I agree with Matthew when he says that Parliament should not, basically kowtow to this. But the fact is, they are, and they will.
But the main mob outside, again, and throughout the country, Matthew, they've seen this as a little bit of a victory. They've influenced decision-making within Parliament. I'll go back to you again, Matthew. Is this a sign of things to come under a Labour government?
Well, I hope not. And if and when we get a Labour government, I, as a journalist and a believer in democracy and a believer in doing the right thing, will join you in holding that Labour government to account. That's an important function of our democracy. The journalists do precisely that. I hope it doesn't evolve in that way, is all I can say.
I think there's one problem that we have with Labour. Well, this will open up a divide with us, which is, I think, what you want, is that they are going to be bringing in certain legislation which embeds in it a definition, for example, of Islamophobia, which will make virtually all criticism of Islam Islamophobic. Yeah. So, for example, in this current situation, me talking about Islamic fundamentalism, Islamism, that will possibly be dangerous in the future. I mean, these are the real threats we are facing to our democracy.
Well, look, we need to be absolutely clear about this. There is a very, very important, and I would argue very obvious distinction between Muslims, British Muslims, vast majority of whom are law-abiding citizens,
of course,
right? And then Islamofascists, for whom none of us should have any time whatsoever. We mustn't get caught up in this attempt by some to drag the general British... Let me finish the point. To drag the general British Muslim population and brand them with this Islamic extremist...
But you cannot have a situation...
Which is dangerous.
You cannot have a situation, guys. You cannot have a situation where the threat to MP safety influences which way Parliament votes.
No, you can't. We've all agreed
Which is what the Labour Party did yesterday.
Can I just answer your point there, Matthew? Yeah, sure. That is said after every incident like this. It's said after every terrorist attack. It's said after every kind of demonstration. Fact of the matter is that whenever the Muslim population generally, which I'm not saying that they're all Islamists, but the fact obviously
they are.
But the point is, the bigger it gets, the greater this threat becomes.
So, guys, we're going to have to go now to the yes or no, Chris. I know you're dying to do this. So last week was a shocker from Stephen Pound. I think he got 3 out of 5. He's been doing it for months, nearly a year. But it's terrible. So 5 questions, guys. It's a yes or no answer. Dead simple. So, Matthew, have the Labour Party given in to mob rule?
No.
Yes.
Of course, yeah. Number 2, Peter, do you think the public have lost a little bit of confidence in Parliament?
What? Are you kidding?
That's a no. So you delivered like 3 or 4 different words then. You say yes or no, so I can't give you that.
Yes.
He's going to win again, isn't he? Because he's hovering around the background, waiting for you to slip up.
Prevaricator.
Matthew, will England beat the Scots this weekend at rugby?
There was
a wrong answer again. It's a shocker. Number 4, Peter, will Trump win the presidential election?
Yes.
No.
Okay, number 5, this is a killer. This is. Peter, is a vote for reform at the next general election a vote for Labour?
No.
Yes.
Right. Matthew's got 5. You've got a pathetic 3. Sorry to say about, but we can build on that for next time.
Yeah, okay.
But it's yes or no.
Why it's about as Pound or Stephen Pound?
I don't think anybody's as bad as Stephen Pound.
Okay.
He's probably the worst we've had on the show. It's actually worse for Stephen because he's been on about a dozen times and he still gets it wrong.
Yes.
Should know better. Needs to keep off of that, I think.